Yeah.
Jimmy, can you pass me a pen? Just so I can take some notes. Or a pencil. All right, the time is now 6:33. We are in session. Apologies for the delay. Took a last minute phone call. All right, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, May 14, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. At City Hall 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. The City Council will also hold a town hall during the regular meeting to allow for questions and public comments on a potential tax increase proposed for 2026 to support the 26-27 fiscal year budget. You can join the meeting at the Zoom link provided in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically or by audio. An audio recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a quorum call, please?
Here, Mayor. Alderman Prittner.
Here.
Alderman Tremblay.
Here.
Alderman Menu.
Here.
Alderwoman Walker.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Madero.
Here.
City attorneys here, interim city administrators here, Dr. Johnson.
Here.
And they're all together.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Okay, a town hall moderated by the mayor and city administrator to allow for questions and public comments on a potential tax increase for the 26 tax year to support the 26-27 fiscal year budget. This is not a public hearing on the proposed tax rate or budget that council will hold prior to consideration and adoption of the 26 tax rate and 26-27 fiscal year budget. Time is now 6:36. We are in our town hall. I don't have anybody online. So we'll just give it a few more moments and we'll switch gears. Okay, so if there are no questions related to the town hall, we will then close at 6:37. All right. So then moving along, citizens to be heard. People wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. At this time, we do have Mr. Leandro Cortez to speak.
Okay, we're here for our cows, the two cows. We had a violation for 'em.
Okay.
And right now our property is like on the waiting list, or yeah, it's already in the process or anything for agriculture to sign up for it. But we've been doing that for over how many years? 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never been an issue or a problem. But these same cows, these are the cows that we use every year to pay for our taxes. We get two new cows every year, and they're well, healthy, and kept up, maintained. And the property is 7 acres. And where we live in it, it's only 1 acre that we live in that we use, and the rest is 6 acres out of the seven. That's what the cows remain. Yeah, I mean, two properties, because you didn't buy them at the same time, so it's half and half, but it's complete, combined together. And we have the taxes here for the property.
Just to give you a heads up, right? So everything you need to say, lay it out. We can't really respond to it.
Yeah.
But we can, like y'all were talking to Rick outside.
Yeah.
Right, just kind of keep that conversation going and then we'll bring it back but we have to hear from you first, right? So
Yeah.
if there's anything else, by all means,
Yeah.
keep it going.
And yeah, and it's how we make our living to pay our taxes and stuff every year. Buy two cows, we sell them. So we pay, ¿cuántos de taxes? ¿Cuánto pagamos?
Casi 30, casi los 30, pago 6,000 for the house, and 6,000,
Seis mil
6,000 casi por la
para
casa,
la casa
y 3,000.
en tres para la
Almost.
propiedad.
Yeah, almost $10,000.
Okay.
Ujú. Aquí si gusta.
It's
Two houses for mine. I don't. 222
40 Priest Road.
22240 Priest Road.
Yeah. And then we have, I don't. Then we have another violation for a fence. I don't know who's the officer that they should let more details to it because it only says Matt Gate. We technically have, the closest Matt Gate that we have is our main entrance for a gate.
Matt,
Yeah, that's literally.
that's what it says. Okay.
Yeah. And this gate, we've been having it for like over 20 years, like I have proof of it and everything. Would you like to look at it?
Not right now, but okay.
Yeah, but
There was a
although-
citation.
Yeah.
Right, for a gate.
yeah,
Okay.
The thing.
Oh, the fence
And the
too.
fence.
Because we have aluminum fences, stuff like that.
Was the citation for the gate or for the fence?
No, the fence.
It's for the
Yeah,
fence.
it's like
Okay.
combined.
Is there anything else you wanted to?
Dile que me dijeron que me daban hasta el día 20, hasta el día 20, para que la quite y le ponga de madera, que no quieren fierro, le digo, pero esta la puse hace muchos años atrás,
Ujú.
hace 20 años. Y ahorita porque tengo la taza ahí para que no se mire, para que no se salgan, para que no allá.
Yeah.
Pero esas nomás las tengo en la noche para encerrarlas. En el día
Let me have a
no.
little bit.
Yeah, basically saying that this same fence that is being issued as a violation,
No es nuevo.
it's not new, nothing new. It's been in for something more than 5 years.
Vieja.
All right, like I said, we really can't address any of the issues, but we will take it back to our people and then, do we have your phone number?
Yes.
Okay, all right, give us an opportunity to discuss it internally. We'll bring it up to the next council meeting. And then we'll invite you back to go over what we can figure out for you.
And how long would it take till we get a
We
response?
meet every second and fourth Thursday. So the next meeting that we would have would be 2 Thursdays from now.
Okay, so 2 weeks.
It's the 28th, yeah.
Dile, si me molestan otra vez, necesito algo comprobar.
No puede decir.
Que si,
Ahorita no
vienen-
puede,
si me vienen a molestarme otra vez, ¿qué pasa? Es que no sé, claro.
Yeah, you just have to we'll pump the brakes right now. Okay, and then we'll address it on the 28th.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's move to the consent agenda. Mayor and administrator announcements, or rather the announcements. Let's see, May 16th, 2026 from 9 to 11 at Town Hall at Sandy Oaks Community Center, 4451 Hickory Haven, to receive public comment on proposed 2026 tax increase for the FY 26-27 budget. Additional meetings will be held June 27th, 2026 at 9 a.m. and July 25th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Let's go do this. The next scheduled holiday for City Hall is May 25th, which is Memorial Day. And lastly, May 26th, which is the immediate Tuesday afterwards, San Diego City Hall will serve as a polling location for Bexar County, the joint primary runoff election. So be sure to get your votes in that Tuesday.
Are we gonna be advertising those events at the community center, as,
We can't print out, the flyers are.
I know, but they're not gonna be like official, special council meetings. You're gonna ensure that there aren't three of us present there, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. All right, there are no questions on the updates and announcements. We will move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. You have the floor.
There was an update to, two of those items within the last hour. I'd like to pull on the consent agenda, item A and B.
Okay. We want to discuss them during the meeting, or we want to just bring it back for the next one?
Well,
Yeah.
The consent agenda.
I got you. All right, then I can take a motion on agenda item C if there is no further discussion. This is the first payment for.
Move to approve consent agenda item C.
Second. All right, I got a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman McNeil to approve consent agenda item C, invoice number 2002 in the amount of 7,200 to Ventured Soul LLC for milestone 1 contract execution and project initiation of the municipal digital platform. Do you have any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, now,
So I think the changes are the requested updates that I sent in, but given that they were just updated within the last hour, I didn't have time to go and look.
Okay.
So I would like to have time to go and review those, but I would leave it for the rest of the council to potentially make a motion on it, because they may have had time to review it, but I just didn't want to pass it with the consent agenda, but everybody else, again, I think you only need a majority, so.
Yep.
If they don't want to pass
I would
it.
agree they'll put out last minute.
So just bring them back at the next meeting, if
We
you
will.
could, please. Postpone until 28th May.
Got you. All right. And let's see here. Let's start with our. I guess let's start with our, where's Ashley? She left, right? Okay. Well, I know she didn't leave, but.
Continually, but I think.
No, I know. Priscilla, are you available or no?
But I'm sorry.
Are you available? Because I want to start our staff and committee reports.
Okay,
So I don't know if you're going back and forth.
I just went to go and put some air in the room.
Okay.
Can we do them in order? I understand skipping Ashley, but Public Works is listed as 7E. Can we at least just?
Yeah,
the
most
7B?
definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So then Ashley's not here. Yep. So then let's move along to 7B, Code Enforcement Officer Updates, Announcements, and Presentation of the monthly report with possible discussion and action. Mr. Aguilar, you do have the floor.
Hello, how you doing?
Evening.
So, George Aguilar, Code Officer, for the department. Right now, we have everything that's up to date. It's, currently total of 48, violations were given out last month. Majority of all of those violations that were given out have come to compliance. We have some that went to citations as well. They have support as well as, we have some that are needing more time to be able to come to compliance, which I am working with those family members because we understand that not everyone has the ability to be able to clean up everything and everything that's going. So that's still, we're working with families to make sure that they're able to come to compliance. We're not just there to give them citations left and right. So on that, with our goals is to educate our residents about code compliance and have them understanding the actual code itself. We have a lot of residents here that are not understanding the way it's written or not understanding that we even had a code within the city itself. A lot of feedback that I've been getting is more of the did not know this or didn't even know we had a code compliance until they see me there more, more often. They start seeing me more. So other than that, everything else is working pretty smoothly, getting my feet more wet. So there are more violations going out more often, and they are seeing me more often out there in the field. Other than that, everything else is great. I mean, unless y'all have questions for myself or anything like that.
Well, looks like you're staying busy with a number of inspections and re-inspections that
Correct.
you're out there doing. So appreciate you taking the initiative, getting that done, following up on it. As I mentioned during our conversation earlier, I would appreciate it if you would bring to the council any of the ordinances that you're looking at that there might be something we can address or change or modify in order to make it easier for you to be able to enforce it. Because I understand that you were commenting on a few things that don't
Right.
exactly make sense. But if you can bring that to us, either through the mayor, city administrator, directly to us, and we can see what we can do about updating our ordinance to make it something that makes sense.
For sure, and there are some ordinances, we do have that kind of, we were talking earlier about columns. You've got your fence columns. On your ordinances, it says it's gotta match the main structure of the home. You have, that I counted, we have about a total of 10 homes. Their actual columns, so the entry of their homes, which is your fence line, do not match their homes. So I think there's something that we have to revisit on that, because then if not, if I enforce that, that means everybody has to take their columns down and redo the fence line. And when we do redo fence lines, now we're talking about new permits, money that the residents has to come out and redo. Some of these fence lines I know have been up for more than 30 years. So enforcing the code, some of the things we have to revisit, as well as what we call the triangle, the 3-point triangle, which is your 4-way stop signs. You have the view of sight. We have it down at 3 feet. Is there any way we can bring that back up? Because the majority of all our fence lines sit behind of a stop sign, and the majority of them, our line of sight is visible. There's no fence blocking. So at 3 feet, you're not protecting nobody from nobody. We have vicious dogs or anybody.
But usually that something that can be corrected.
Correct. It is.
Can we go in and make people raise their fences or?
Yes.
I mean, can we talk about people being grandfathered? How we sit,
So again, I think this is something he needs to bring back for us to talk about as a specific item. I asked it for him is that he start bringing this back so we can have it as a topic, not to have this conversation with him now, because it's not an agenda item and some of the citizens may want to provide feedback in that conversation as well.
Majority of that has been talked to myself on it. So like I said, we'll sit down and, comb over everything. And I'll provide feedback with y'all that I get from the residents as well.
That would be great.
Well, I think my only recommendation is don't sit on it to bring us 10 ordinances, right? As you work through a couple of issues out there, bring those 2 up.
Correct.
And then let us have an opportunity to fix it. And then, hey, it might be another year, but in that time you should be reading up anyways and saying,
Yes,
okay,
for sure.
So I would say bring as many as you can at first, so that way we can work through them. And then as more come through, then they just keep pushing.
And that's pretty much everything else is working the dominoes will fall into place. So pretty much all the residents here are coming to compliance on the majority of the code compliance we have on.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'm gonna back it up one spot. Animal control updates, announcements, and presentation of the monthly reports. Agenda item 7A by our Animal Control Officer Ashley Cunningham. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, council. So we were super busy this month with the amount of dogs that came in. The total number of new animals that came in and out of the facility this month was 36 dogs and cats. Most of those were dogs. We did have a few litters of neonatal kittens that we had to figure out what to do with. We didn't have anywhere to keep them, so I ended up taking some home overnight and tube feeding them. Because they couldn't be just left in a kennel overnight or fostered because of how tiny they were. So we did that. We had quite a bit of animals get reclaimed, more than we normally do. So I do think that the failure to reclaim is working. Would like to see maybe adjusting in the schedule some things. Potentially, if someone's dog is fixed and has its microchip and it just got out, this is the first time we're dealing with it. I would like to lower that a little bit. Just because they're in compliance and their dog just got out. It's the first time we're dealing with it. Now, if it's a second offense, they shouldn't be charged for it, but they shouldn't be getting charged the same as someone whose dog is not intact and is intact and is running loose.
Isn't there a fee in
Yeah,
addition
there's a-
to reclaiming a fee for the dog not being fixed, for the dog not being microchipped?
There's no difference right now. So-
But isn't there a fee,
Well, they get a citation.
a citation, your dog's not fixed? Here's the fee for picking up your dog, pay your citation for your dog not being fixed, pay your citation.
Well, there's no fee for the dog not being fixed, you just get a citation. So if they get that fixed before the court, that can potentially be,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
dismissed, but I think that someone who has their dog that's not fixed and would pick it up, they should pay more than someone who does have their dog fixed. Just reviewing, I was asked to review the master fee schedule on animal control. So, that's just something that I would potentially like to look into. Other than that, we didn't euthanize any dogs. Dogs that were transferred out, we had 32. And we did have a lot of microchips this month. We had 9. No, that's not a lot. But for us, it is. So, we did have a lot of people, which is great because then it on average, when a dog is microchipped and their information is up to date, it takes us about 30 minutes to get a hold of somebody. And they come and pick up their dog the same day. So that's wonderful when they do have the microchip and they're utilizing it correctly. We're able to just give the dog right back to them. So I think that's all. Questions for me?
Any questions for Animal Control?
I know, so there were a couple of bites, scratches on your report. Were there's anything significant? Are they able to get determine that the pet had a vaccine, so the individual didn't need to go get the
Yes.
rabies vaccine?
Yes, one of them. How many were there? 2.
There's 2, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so one of them, they were referred to quarantine, because their dog was not up to date. The other one, well, one of them was impounded because it bit somebody and it was held and euthanized. The other one, it was an older gentleman, his dog not busted through the gate, but the guy coming to pick him up for, like medical care, like they transport him. He opened up his gate. Like he reached in and opened up the latch. And when the old man was opening the door, the dog ran out and the guy had already opened the gate, so the dog came and bit the guy.
But they weren't
But it was up to date. It was
up to date, and so no,
Nothing needed.
because I've been through that. That's not fun.
Yeah.
And then, but no significant, like significant bites that were
Stitches,
on.
yeah.
It was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad bite, but it wasn't like a mauling or
Okay.
It was just a one bite and the dog.
I just know we've had some bad incidents with animals, and I know there's a couple of dogs out there that are killing our community cats, just tearing them up. And so those are the kind of dogs that I'm worried about.
Yeah, this was on the street, obviously. And both of them were actually on.
Okay.
Oh, I did have one more thing. We did do our very first TNR through the grant today. Still, we had 2 cats. That was,
Keep track of your costs.
Yeah.
Just so you know where you're at. Right?
yeah, we put them in another folder, so that we can keep track of.
Are we keeping those funds in a separate budget?
No, well, a separate line item. It's in the budget to be discussed later.
So that was, yay, we did it.
Gotta get more?
Yes.
Anything else? All right, then let's move right along. Park Advisory Committee update and announcement with possible discussion and action. Alderman Crickmer, you do have the floor.
Yes, Tom Rapino, Park Advisory Committee, regular meeting was held on May 5th. There were 6 attendees. The one issue was the ground cover brought up as a wood fiber ground cover in the exercise area still needs to be addressed. How much we need and what is the best material to use. Next item was city council members had suggested moving the wooden benches from the abandoned putt-putt course to the walking trail instead of buying rubber coated, plastic coated, metal benches. The committee decided they'd rather leave those putt-putt benches where they're at than put them on the walking trail. No one was in favor of that, so they're gonna stay where they're at. The metal, plastic coated metal benches will be addressed at a later time. The Tom Rapino entrance sign, the contract is in the works. More on that later. Committee members inquired as to the progress fabricating and installing an awning of some sort structure above the entrance to the community center. That has been done. Thank you, Priscilla and Public Works. Beautiful job. Alderman Crickmer to discuss with the administrator and Public Works on the best rain-free days to schedule the painting of non-skid surface material to the community center ramp. I'm not sure when we're gonna do that. We need a period with no rain in the forecast. It's getting there, I think.
Yeah.
Progress of purchasing material for the low spots on the walking trail was discussed. I believe that's on the agenda for tonight. And the committee agreed with city council that the footbridge in the putt-putt course should be removed rather than repaired. The next meeting will be at 5 p.m. Tuesday, June 2nd at Hickory Haven at the Sandy Oaks Community Center. Adjourned at 5:25 p.m. Any questions?
So you indicate that they recommend that they agree that it's a good idea to pull out what is left of that bridge instead of repairing it,
Mhm.
as well as the benches being not really usable. Are they fine where they are, or should they be removed?
I think they're fine where they are, but I don't think they'll be used. I don't think there's with a bridge, it could be a safety hazard.
Okay,
But with the benches, I don't think there's any.
I just didn't know how messed up the benches were. And then will we be attempting to turn that metal bridge in for recycling? Get a little,
I think we could do that. Priscilla would know how to do that, I think.
the metal portion of that bridge, recycle it. No, we can't.
I don't
do
think there's much there, but
Clean the fog on. Yeah, just cutting the bridge out.
Hi.
It's not on the agenda. That's all I got. Thank you.
Any questions for the chairperson? All right, then let's move along. Thank you, Alderman Crickmore. Let's see here. Police Department updates, announcements, and presentation of monthly report with possible discussion and action. Sergeant Palomares, you do have the floor.
Just an update, Officer Bettis is ready to go. We're just waiting for Wednesday so we can qualify for pistol. And he'll be out on the road. Other than that, you guys have any questions about the staff?
So with him going out on the road, I know that you guys are doing 2 officers per shift. Are you guys, with now that you have 3, how are we gonna be able to still maintain that? Or is he, I mean, what are we gonna be doing?
We
for
have
shifts?
to figure that how the schedule is gonna go.
Okay. And then I also noticed in your report, there was a 15 of calls to assist EMS. Is that significantly more than what we've had in?
No, it's basic, it's kind of ranges in those numbers.
Okay,
It's kind of higher in some months, but it's just basically going in and dispatch calls us out to assist with the EMS.
and then I saw Bear County's doing a lot of shots heard disturbances, but
Yeah,
again,
they're-
most of that's happening at night.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I've noticed there's been a significantly larger amount of calls for that, so. I know where some are coming from, so we're trying to work that out.
So still trying to find the source. And then there's an item on here that says patrol by. Does that mean you just driving by looking at the area?
The
Because
more,
there's 18 for Bear County.
yeah. We try to patrol by the areas where there's concerns, just having the police present, driving down the road, kind
Okay.
of deters things. So.
So we got Bear County to just driving around. Well, that's good. And then I also see that there's 2 traffic stops by Bear County deputies.
Yeah,
So if they're making traffic stops and issuing traffic violation citations in our town, the fund, is that a Bear County traffic violation? They have to go to Bear County, or is it a city of Sandy Oaks and they have to come to us?
it's a bear count.
It's a Bear County. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Sergeant Palomares? All right, if there are no questions, we will move right along. Thank you. Next, 7E, Public Works updates, announcements with possible discussion and or action. Ms. Schmidt, you do have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Subject about the bridge. So, we are planning on repairing that bridge. We started on it. And, it was kind of tough because it was just me by myself. So, we were working on, the cover to the community center. That is completed. Looks really nice. If you haven't seen it, please go by, take a look at it. But since we're done with that, the next thing we want to work on is that bridge.
But why are we repairing it if the park committee doesn't think it's value added to the park?
Because I just feel like, I think with the community center bringing in more residents, if we remove the gravel that was placed there and we try to fix the golf course, I think that would just give families something else to do in our park. I mean, it's just a little small, little.
So you think that ultimately?
Just
But
think,
of course,
I
okay.
just think it would be nice, that area be cleaned up. It wouldn't, I don't think it would take a whole lot, I mean, me personally, but the carpet that needs to go down, you know, I don't know what that would cost the city to have carpet put down.
What about the cost to repair the bridge?
The
That's
bridge?
just wood, right?
Well,
It was just a wood bridge and I don't think
Let
this.
me have a point of order. So let's put it on a discussion, on an agenda item to discuss specifically.
Valid point,
Sure.
thank you.
That's fine.
But I do agree, but let's just put it actual, Jermaine, if you can take, Dr. Johnson, if you take note of that to put it on an actual agenda item to discuss the repairs of the putt-putt course.
which would include the bridge.
Right,
So I
exactly.
don't want to eliminate the bridge
Correct.
yet. Okay, thank you. So, there's the bridge. Also, I did finally get a hold of the gentleman I've been trying for the longest time to emailed him multiple times, and I finally got a response back from him, and that is for the Tom Rufino Park signs that I was telling you about. I'm ordering roughly about 10 of them. He's supposed to let me know when those will come in so that we can get those installed in the community. So we can let people know we do have a park.
Those are the signs to direct people which way to go to get.
Yes, and it's just gonna be main roads, basically anywhere from New Mathis, Waterwood, the Priest Road, just leading us to the park, just with arrows on both sides, back and front. And the baseball field, I've been working or attempting to work on that. Basically what we've done is we've cut the grass really, really short. And I took the larger tractor with the behind plow, and I was trying to like basically turn this grass, dirt.
I think the
just
mayor has that as an agenda item later.
Try to
I think
do
he
that.
intends to talk to us about
That's fine.
that.
I'm pretty impressed though, because I am like, I don't know, probably 20 years. I haven't seen red sand out there. And so now whenever you pull in the park, you just see this big old red circle out there and it's pretty nice. So I'm pretty excited about it. Sorry. So I'm excited to see more families try to utilize the baseball fields. I think that would be also a plus. So I've done that. To the best of my ability, please. I don't have a lot of equipment. And we have been also trying to take care of a lot of the mowing in the park. That's a lot of ground to cover. I would like to, I don't know if this is on the agenda, but I would like to talk about hiring, filling the public work position.
It's on the
It's on the
agenda.
agenda.
Okay, perfect. Because I do have plans that it's concerning to me. And I've gotten a lot of comments about the areas we have cleared. We're not asking to clear the entire park where it's just visible from one corner to the next. But give you an example from the community center, you can actually see through the trees because we've cleared a good area of the walking trail. So that would be Prelude Pass. We want to work on, well, I do, want to work on the cul-de-sac of Starbuck. I know it's going to upset a resident and that's not the point of that. I just need to be able to see that cul-de-sac as well. Because we have a lot of residents that walk that trail and I'm concerned about their safety. Health reasons, something out there. They showed me a picture of a very large snake. And that was concerning to one of the residents. And I just think it would just be better if we just kind of clear that area. And it's going to take us.
Talking about clearing the underbrush. Not cutting
Yes,
down
yeah,
trees.
no. We're not trying to take out trees. We do have some massive trees that did fall, and we want to clean all of that up. So we want to leave the trees that exist. We just want to clean up the underbrush and we want to clean up the dead areas. So we can see even our officers, so they can see Starbuck, Prelude Pass. So it's going to take a lot to get that done, but that is one of my goals I want to get done. And I think that is it for right now.
Are there any questions for Public Works?
Years ago, when I was on the park committee, I did find a vendor for some red infield sand infield sand.
We'll be talking about that later. It's on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Okay. If there are no other further questions, we will move it right along. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance this evening. All right, let's move on to the unfinished business, discuss and or take possible action on a resolution approving park signage and approving an agreement with Western Welding LLC for the fabrication and installation of signage and authorizing the interim city administrator to execute the agreement for Tom Rapino Park entrance. Alderman Crickmer, Mayor Pro Tem Madero, you do have the floor. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Get there. So I did speak with the Mr. Miguel Martinez today. He planned on stopping by tomorrow at 9 to decide the contract. He had a few questions today, but the plan is to pay to get started. We pay that initial $3,000 and then the remaining $3,000 after the work's been done. So if he's stopped by tomorrow, we have a notary here, sign the contract and go forward.
And who's gonna oversee the construction? Would it be me or you or both of us?
I think it should be you.
Yeah.
I don't think we need the city administrator going out to the
Where
park.
is that exactly on this contract? I'm looking at it, but I don't see it.
I think it may just say
Okay.
the city's designee. Let me see.
Not contract,
Wherever it
but-
does say that if y'all approve the contract, we can change that to specify you.
Yes.
The only other clarification, Alderman Crickmer, I don't know if you got the clarification from the contractor about like the materials, colors, location. That was not in the items supplied.
That
by
was not what he submitted, right?
No,
But he did mention all of that in one of his emails.
okay,
correct?
I don't think I saw that, so.
He had the font, he said painted black. And he had the dimensions of the letters as far as. I want to say 16 or 14.
Yeah, I saw the
span
dimension.
between the rails was
Okay.
2 feet, so they won't touch the top rail. It'll be attached to the bottom rail.
Okay, I saw that.
Yes.
It was the colors and materials, where exactly in the park.
As far as the only thing I don't know is the tubing dimensions, wall thickness,
thickness.
et cetera, but I think it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
And it will be painted black.
To answer that other question, though, it would be under number 6 in the contract, monitoring and evaluation. Says the city reserves the right to monitor and evaluate the progress and performance of contractor to ensure that the terms of this agreement are being satisfactorily met in accordance with the city's criteria and standards. I think we could throw in, Alderman Crickmer is
We
up.
could do
Park
is
committee chair.
Yeah,
put
park
us
committee chair.
both. You could put us both for all, we could put our heads together and discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you let me know when you're going out there. Yeah.
Yeah, park committee chair, you just let him know if you can't make it. I have a question about section 2 of the actual resolution. So it says the city council hereby approves the design for the park sign for the entrance of the park as shown in exhibit A.
That should be
That should be the actual,
the dimension.
The picture.
Yeah.
this one.
It's not labeled, so
It-
we need to start labeling these. However, if you go on later on, it says contract for fabrication and installation of the sign is substantially the same form as included in exhibit A, the agreement. So
Mhm.
we're referring to exhibit A as the picture and then exhibit A again as the agreement. I think we need, yeah, so
Would be.
Because I think even in the agreement, since there was exhibit A, I didn't identify it as exhibit 1, 2, and 3, so.
I think-
avoid that confusion. So
I think in the contract it says, in the contract it says exhibit 1. Or was that one of the other papers I looked at?
No, that was-
It says exhibit 1 in the item 1. So set forth herein and as further specified in exhibit 1. So that's kind of what is exhibit 1. None of we had 2 attachments. We have 2 references to exhibit A, one as the image, one as the agreement, and then we have exhibit 1, which is what is what.
Right, so exhibit A is the agreement. And so it references the dimensions that are attached with the agreement.
So
And then exhibit A,
Okay,
which is
so-
the agreement.
so
With
this
a
is-
caveat about the letters not being in the.
So wait. That picture then is supposed to be included with the contract
Yes.
as exhibit
exhibits
1 to the
1, 2, and
contract.
3. Yeah.
Okay, because they're provided to us as separate files and nothing is labeled. So
So
can we
exhibit
get
A-
that cleaned up before we post that and make sure that we got exhibit A, exhibit 1, and everything attached and posted with the resolution?
And in the contract, it mentions exhibit 2. Which has approved a design of an entry sign for the entrance of Tom Rapino Park.
Exhibit, where does it say exhibit two?
And the second whereas, or in the first whereas, excuse me. In the contract between Western Welding.
Yeah,
It says
At the very bottom.
resolution.
okay, so then what's exhibit one?
Right,
Because this
right.
is saying exhibit two is.
So we
the
just need to
image.
get them all in alignment. That's,
Exhibit one is is what's supposed to be the services. There's a quote that he provided.
Mhm.
I think it's in the
Okay,
file.
we get,
So exhibit one is the quote that has the services to be provided. Exhibit two is the picture, and
The
exhibit
picture.
three is if there's an exhibit three. I don't think there was an
One
exhibit
of
three.
them's
You provide the
insurance.
certificate of insurance.
So
Okay.
they should be all bundled,
Yeah.
bundled together.
Yeah.
That makes better sense.
okay, so I move to make all of these exhibits properly labeled and properly referenced in both the contract and the resolution.
That's a motion.
I move to do that.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Crickmer to make all the exhibits in alignment and all the exhibits properly labeled and in alignment.
Oh, wait, I want to
Well-
specify and modify my motion
Okay.
so that it says park sign for the entrance of the park as shown in the attachment to exhibit A. I want to insert the word the attachment to, just to make it clear that it's, because we have exhibit A referenced twice. So insert in section 2 between the word in and the first exhibit A, insert the word the attachment to.
Let me make sure I heard you. You said insert in section 2 before exhibit
Of the
A.
resolution.
All right, before in section 2 of the resolution.
Oh, so we going,
Hold on.
Between the word
Yeah.
in and the first exhibit A.
So insert in section 2 of the resolution before exhibit A,
The first use of exhibit A.
before the first use of exhibit A, the attachment to, and then to properly label and align all documents in the contract and resolution.
Yes, sir.
do you want to amend that to?
So my motion is amended to include that additional
Okay.
insert.
I'll second.
All right, so we do have a motion and we do have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that was motions carries.
So I would move to adopt resolution number 2026-251, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving park signage for Tom Rapino Park, approving an agreement with Western Welding for the design, fabrication, and installation of a park sign, and authorizing the city administrator to execute an agreement on behalf of the city as amended.
Do you want to withdraw your motion only to update the agreement to reflect,
We can talk about it after the motion is made.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. We forgot that additional point, but
all right, so then
Where we at here?
I have a
I have a
motion.
motion to adopt the resolution as amended.
All right, so I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem to adopt resolution number 2026-251, a resolution of the City Council of City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving a park signage for the Tom Rapino Park as amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Alderwoman Walker. All right, are there any other further questions?
So where were you indicating was the appropriate place to insert the city park chair to?
Yeah, so it is, I just closed it.
Are we going back to the contract now?
Paragraph 6.
So paragraph 6 of the contract, I would modify, as we discussed, because it wasn't in my first motion to amend, that we
Think of section 2 of the.
specify in section 6 of the contract that it will be overseen by the city park committee chair. And also in section 2 of the resolution where it states the city administrator is hereby authorized to execute and manage the agreement, to specify that the city administrator is hereby authorized to execute and the city park committee chair is authorized to manage the agreement.
Okay, so your first motion, right, was to insert the city park chairman into the second paragraph of the agreement. Is that correct?
The city park committee chairman,
City
yes, sir,
park
into
Committee
the,
chairman into the,
that was paragraph 6 of the contract. I didn't look at that. I was going off of what you just said, so.
yeah, under monitoring evaluations. Okay.
And then the second part was to insert the city park committee chairman authorized to manage.
All right, so I have a
in
motion.
section 2.
Yeah, I have a motion by the mayor pro tem to insert the,
There was already a motion on the floor, so is it a motion to?
Amend the previous
amend your
motion.
okay. So the motion to amend the previous motion was to insert in paragraph 6 of the contract to place the city park community chair,
City, community
community
Park.
park
committee
committee
Chair.
chair to monitor and evaluate the project in paragraph 6
of the contract.
of the contract. And then the other one was in the
Section 2 of the resolution.
other one was in section 2 of the resolution and that was in
Section 2,
section 2 of the resolution.
between and manage.
Between and manage to the city.
And authorize the
And-
city park committee.
And authorize the city park committee chair
to manage.
to manage the project. Okay. All right, those are a mouthful. I do have motions. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Alderwoman Walker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, those motion carries. All right,
Now you need. a
now we
motion
need to, now we need a motion, the amended motion.
But I just amended my motion to adopt it. So
Motion's an amendment to.
the whole thing was to adopt this and add the additional amendment to it.
Okay.
Because remember, we had the one motion on the table, so that motion had to be amended to include
And that was the second.
in that original motion. Yeah.
That was the second and third part of it. Okay. All right, cool. So
We're
then
good.
I think we're good. So we'll make those adjustments and then she'll print out.
I'd like to thank you all for your efforts. I appreciate it.
It's getting done. Thank you, sir, for spearheading this one. All right, so then let's move on to new business. To be respectful for some of our in-person guests' time, I want to jump to section 8.
9.
Is it 9? No. Oh, 9, excuse me, yeah. 9 T. Discuss and or take possible action on a variance request pursuant to ordinance number 2025-256, section 7A. For the placement of a manufactured home on a vacant lot at 3906 Cannonwood, Sandy Oaks, Texas, 78112. Said home exceeding the minimum age requirement of 5 years from the date of application as set forth in ordinance number 2025-256, section 6A. Dr. Johnson, you do have the floor.
Yes, sir. So this, manufacturing has been totally restored. However, it sees the 5-year limit. A verification was, what's submitted, which is asking the council to consider approving it.
Was there any evaluation done on this 17-year-old manufactured home to ensure there was no health, fire, safety hazards or any other concerns of that nature?
The vendor did that as far as we go, as far as code compliance, code enforcement officer, within the city, we have not did anything yet.
And that's where we would employ B2B BB inspections to also give their independent review of the manufactured home.
Was that done?
No, we'd have to approve with stipulations that it pass an inspection by BB.
I BB standing for?
It's
BB standing for
I don't know. They're just called BB inspections.
BB. And so it's an organization. that
Yeah,
inspects
that's,
manufacturers' homes?
that's who does all our inspections for manufactured homes, for our certificates of occupancy.
So is this a cost the city incurs to do this inspection, or does the
It
homeowner?
gets passed on. And it's a part of the ordinance that it's like $450 or something like that.
So we pay for it upfront,
Mhm.
or, and then
And then
the
then
board
we would
moves
pass it
in,
on.
then he doesn't do it. So, I would move that we allow the variance provided the manufactured home passes the inspection by B and
BB
B,
inspections.
by BB inspections indicating that it's not a hazard.
I was second that. Would agree.
I got a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Crickmer to allow the variance to stand with the stipulation that it has a passing inspection by BB Inspections. All those in favor, or is there any other further discussion or questions?
Yes, is there a revenue for the city on the variance?
There's
Or is it
not a
an
revenue.
Annual or no?
No, it's
One-time
a,
shot with no, no
one-time
fee for the city.
correct. It's a break even.
Just the normal fee for bringing in a manufactured home that we pay, that anyone pays for bringing it in. It's just an additional step required if your
Gotcha.
home is old.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. We will schedule with you to work with Dr. Johnson to schedule the inspection. That way it could keep moving, okay?
okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Rewind a little bit. All right. Yeah. All right, so let's go to. See, how does the executive session work? All right, so then let's go to discussing our possible action on the re-advertising of the city administrator position for purposes of recruitment and potential future appointment. All right, so the discussion here is considering that we didn't offer the extension or a contract to the interim. Do we want to proceed forward and open up the position for rehiring or for hiring? We'll take any discussion that you may have.
I was thinking for that position, a 90-day probation seems awful short for that type of position. And there are many jobs where it's six months. Standard. People here.
You can make a motion.
6 months would be more in line with trying to get in line with the duties or the duties being met, opportunity to meet them. Just like you would do a mid, evaluation on an employee, you give them an opportunity to
Improve.
correct or learn, adapt to whatever changes you think need to be made. I would, and you're saying
Rather than opening up a.
correct. I think we have an individual in the position. I think we owe him the opportunity to learn or to adapt or to meet our expectations. So that's if you're not making a motion, then I would move that we extend the probationary period of our.
It's not on the agenda. I think it's just to re-advertise, so maybe just to,
Okay, well, I would
No,
move that we
yeah.
don't. Yeah.
but that can be brought back on the
Yeah.
agenda to put a probation period.
So the
I don't think we put a timeline on the probation period, so there's no need to even address that. The only question here is, do we want to re-advertise at this point in time or not? That's it.
That we don't.
No.
We need a
Well,
motion
yeah.
for that.
That's what he just said.
There it is.
Yep. So I
Made a
got,
motion and McNeil seconded it.
Yeah, I second it.
you seconded, right? Okay. So I got a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderwoman Walker to not re-advertise the city administrator position for purposes of recruitment and potential future employment. Is there any further discussion on this before we take a vote? Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. We will not re-advertise the position. All right. Moving on, agenda item 9B, discussing our possible action on accepting the resignation of Police Chief Juarez. Dr. Johnson, you do have the floor.
Yes, sir. So, PC did submit his resignation to start tomorrow. However, with that, we will have to submit a F5 and then a L1 the next day because in order to, for example, if we have Rick ever take that position, we will have to have that position vacant. So with that said, we also have Mr. Dickey on the line. He's our T-code detective. He can provide more information. But we're just asking the council to consider accepting Mr. Juarez of resignation.
I moved it.
Well, whether we accept it now.
Yeah, we accept the
So
resignation.
I have a question on the ordinance, though. The effective date is May 14th for the resignation. I just want to make sure that was okay, or if it needed to be May 15th for the timeline with T-Cole,
Well,
because that may affect the agenda item.
let's pull Mr. Dickey on the phone because that's gonna depend on if we make if we make the interim, Rick tonight, if we make him the interim, we will have to make that resignation date starting on the 14th. Like the 15th.
So maybe we need to
Just by-
table
by a
this
date.
one. No, maybe we table this one
Until
until
we-
after we talk about the interim.
That's fine.
So let's table it and come back to it after.
And again, he's on there if you want to ask him that question.
Sir, Mr. Dickey, do you hear me? Is that resident?
Because table just means we're gonna bring it back up later in this meeting. It doesn't mean move it to the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so then let's, he's not picking up, so let's, if you want to try to get him on the phone or something, but we'll address that.
Yeah, I moved the table this one
Momentarily.
for now until after we talk about the interim police chief.
Yeah, okay. All right, discussing or possible, well, for this one, yeah, discussing or possible action on a resolution appointing Enrique Alvarez as chief of police or interim police chief, establishing a pay rate, providing a severability clause and setting an effective date, followed by administration of the oath of office.
This is one of the 3 items on the executive
It
session.
sure is.
But before we go into executive session, I would like our city attorney to, or we could talk about in the executive session, the roles, responsibilities, and liabilities associated with the 3rd item on our executive session agenda, whether you want to talk about that here or in the executive session.
Sure. So then actually let's, it's now 7:36. Yeah, 7:36. Let's break into executive session for agenda item A, B, and C, deliberate the appointment of the chief of police or interim police chief. Executive session to deliberate on the pay rate for municipal court clerk Jeremy Fernandez, and executive session to deliberate on appointing Nicholas Waters to the classification of unpaid reserve. 7:36, we are in executive session. Please leave your mics. All right, time is now 8:21. We are back in session. That was a nice break there. All right. So then let's go ahead and
We can go back to
B.
9B.
Yeah, let's go to 9B.
I move that we accept the resignation of Police Chief Nicholas Juarez and adopt the resolution. What is the resolution number? Resolution number 2026-252, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, accepting the resignation of Nicholas Juarez as Chief of Police and Department Head of the Sandy Oaks Police Department.
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman McNeil to accept the resignation of the Police Chief Nicholas Juarez and adopting resolution number 2026-252, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, accepting the resignation of Nicholas Juarez as Chief of Police and Department Head of the Sandy Oaks Police Department. You have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion points? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. All right, then let's move along to agenda item C. Discuss under possible action on a resolution appointing Enrique Alvarez as Chief of Police or Interim Police Chief, establishing a pay rate, providing a severability clause, and setting an effective date, followed by administration of the oath of office. Do we have the oath of office?
It's in the attachment. So I move that we appoint Enrique Alvarez as Chief of Police at a salary of $83,000 a year, effective immediately.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Crickmer to appoint Enrique Alvarez as the Chief of Police, establishing a pay rate of $83,000 annually, effective immediately. All those, is there any other discussion points?
You need to ask Rick.
Rick, do you accept this Chief of Police position?
I do.
By the powers vested in me, you are now married.
You didn't let us vote yet.
I know. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion. You are now married to the department, sir.
If you guys think that's something.
All right.
We get to stop and do the oath, or you're gonna
Yep.
do that later?
We
Uh,
can do it later.
we can do it later. Let's keep it rolling. Don't leave yet. You can't now. All right, discuss or possible action on authorizing the city administrator to advertise for the position of police chief. We will
No action.
pull that item, no action. All right, discuss and possible action on appointing the mayor, interim city administrator, the chief administrator until the police chief position is filled. No action. Moving right along. F. Discuss and possible action on appointing Nicholas Waters to the classification of unpaid reserve peace officer.
No action.
No action. Moving along. All right, now we can slow it down. Discuss under possible action on the advertising of a public works employee position for purposes of recruitment and potential future appointment. All right, so I have the floor, but I will pass it over to Priscilla. I think you did have a few words to say.
Yes.
And you're done. No, go ahead.
You're done. I would like to ask council to please approve posting the public work position. Can definitely fill the absence of Jacob not being here with us. The help that he provided for us, and definitely can fill that gap. The reason I'm asking for this position to be filled, it's gonna be one, for safety reasons. It would reduce the overtime in the long run. My current team is overworked, and which increases the likelihood of safety incidents and burnouts. Another public works employee will improve morale and safety. And this will allow us to do preventative maintenance around the city, around our maintenance yard, here at the city hall. The vehicles, we have more than we can imagine. And I would have to say, a well-staffed public works team is the backbone of our city. And I would just ask kindly if you would please consider and letting me have my public works position back, please.
Move to approve advertising for the position of the public works employee for the purpose of filling the position.
Second. All right, I have a motion from Alderman Tremblay and a second from Alderman McNeil.
There is discussion.
Before I take a vote, is there any discussion?
Yes, there's some items missing from that agenda, from that motion as required by our personnel policy manual. Also, I'm concerned that the announcement that was provided to us to review in preparation for this doesn't indicate the skills, education, or other requirements required for this position, only the roles and responsibilities. Are we not going to require any kind of skills or capabilities, anything that you typically see in a job ad?
What we used before.
It's a long.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've had these guys for a bit. I just, so Priscilla, I don't know if you've seen the ad that we have for this position.
Have not.
Can we make a motion to, or can we just address it in a sense of let's work for a proper job description and requirements?
Yeah, I would request that Priscilla, before we advertise it, that you make sure that the skills that you're needed for this entry level position are appropriate. We're also supposed to be approving what the pay range is going to be, where it's going to be advertised, and for how long. So there's a pay scale advertised in the personnel policy manual. I assume that's what you're going to be using, but it wasn't specified in the motion. Second, where are we going to advertise this? If we can also include that in the motion, and for how long. And then Priscilla, I assume you'll be the ones doing the interview, just to make sure that you're aware there is a requirement to have at least one, preferably two council members present at the interview.
Yeah.
All right. I would just ask that the motion be updated to include those
So
specifications.
should we just pull this till all that information is available?
I would trust that Priscilla can properly describe that. I mean, the job of what she's looking for is fine, but I think we need to go ahead and approve getting it out there with that additional information, what skills are required to be included in that job ad. So
Do you want to amend your motion to include everything that she said?
Right, if we can get the city administrator pull a job description, generic one from another city public works employee, and work with Priscilla and get that out, get it advertised. That'd be a motion.
advertised where, for how
Wilson
much,
County,
We can
for how
advertise
long?
it on city website and
TML.
I guess TML.
Wilson County, no?
I don't know. that
And
we
I
need to
mean,
go that
those-
far. We'll probably, hopefully we get somebody local. I
Yeah.
think we
Hey,
And TML and our website is free, so we can run them as long as we want to.
so until filled, using the pay scale that's indicated in the personnel policy manual.
use the pay scale that's in the
Yep.
personnel manual based on the experience, or education experience.
Yep.
And we've already received 2 applications already before the positions even been.
We'll work that out. Okay. All right, so I do have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Alderman McNeil, which has been amended to reference the pay scale, which reflects on the employee manual, to reflect the advertisement of the position in TML and the city website. And as per the instructions from our Mayor Pro Tem, to include a council member or two in the interview process. All those in favor say aye. All those,
Wait.
what?
When you read the motion, you didn't include updated job ad as from what,
Job description?
Updated job description.
Oh, yeah,
Please.
and then in the motion to update the job ad.
thank you.
All right, now let's take another vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right,
Thank you,
let's
Council.
move along. See, I told you I wasn't gonna take your money. Just had to make you sweat.
You were gonna do it. I know you.
Discuss other possible action on pay adjustment for municipal court clerk Jeremy Fernandez with an effective date.
I move that we give the court clerk a pay raise to $25 an hour.
I see.
All right, I do have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman Walker. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Did I hear you say aye?
Yes, sir.
All right, then that motion carries $25. All right,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that motion didn't include an effective date, effective at the beginning of the next pay period. Thank you. Oh, it was you that said it.
All right, all right.
Wait.
What, do we need to go and redo it?
Yeah, please, because that
Okay.
wasn't included in the
All right.
motion.
So then I do have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman Walker, which was amended to increase the pay rate for our court clerk Jeremy Fernandez to $25 effective the next pay period. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, now that motion carries.
All right, just wanted the vote to make it official.
All right, discussion or possible action on ordinance establishing the position of office manager and advertising to fill the position for purposes of recruitment and potential future employment appointment. This was if we decided not to re-advertise the city administrator position. But if we're not going to do that, then I don't think there's action to take on agenda item I. Think that's fair?
Shelve it.
Yep, no action. All right, discuss and a possible action on ordinance 2026-273, amending the 25-26 fiscal year budget for municipal purposes.
Okay,
Yep.
so before we even talk about this, can we fix the way the city talks about fiscal year?
What do you want to fix?
So fiscal years refer to a 12-month period.
Mhm.
Typically, the year in the fiscal year is the year in which the 12-month period ends.
Mhm.
So the federal government has their fiscal year begin on the 1st of October. 47 states have it start on the 1st of September. That includes Texas. 2 states have it start on the 1st of October.
Mhm.
And New York, got to be different, has it start on the 1st of April. But in all those instances, they all refer to it as fiscal year and then the 2-digit year that it actually ends. So, and also another point of clarification to help our citizens, if we could refer to the fiscal year properly and then put in parentheses the years that the months that it covers. So for example, the current fiscal year would be fiscal year 26, and then parenthetically put 1 October 2025 to
The way the
30.
document states.
Right, so that we have both of those together, but stop calling it fiscal year 2025-2026 because the fiscal year is a 12-month period.
I mean, it does run 25 through 26, so
A fiscal year is a 12-month period.
12
the
months,
state of-
25 through 26.
But that's not the proper way to do.
Months that it
Either way,
starts
it's on
in.
the title, it's on the document, we'll just reflect it. No problem, let's move along. We're really missing the point here, guys. But we will update it.
Thank you.
So, okay, so I added a couple of lines in this document if you had a chance to review them. The green is basically just adding in a revenue and an expense line for the trap neuter release grant. There's no impact. It's $2,500 in, $2,500 out. Do you have any questions on that one?
Is that being maintained separately, so it's tracked separately to ensure that we're not using that funds for other things?
I mean, it's in a separate line item, so yes, it cannot be put in a separate.
But is it like tracked differently in QuickBooks or something so that we have
They
it?
would have to flag it and move it to the correct budget. I'm not going anywhere. I'm grabbing my charger.
July.
Yes, sir.
Are we gonna have to rearrange to cover the sign for the
Yep,
park?
that's in here too.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
So the green is what you're adding.
Right. So in this case, right, the green is I am adding a revenue line and an expense line. Zero impact to the P&L. Because we're gonna spend, we brought in $2,500. We're gonna expense $2,500.
Okay. And the other
Okay.
colors and numbers?
Yep, I'll go to those right now. Give me 1 second. So,
What if we don't spend it all?
that's a question for Ashley. That's a good question.
But we have a year to spend it.
Right, and it's not like it's reimbursable, so I think we should be able to spend it. We'll have to see what we spent for this year and then make a small adjustment to next year, right? So let's just say we spend 1,000. Next year, we'll have a $1,500 budget to expend it all. That make sense?
Yeah, we have a lot of community cats. I think once word gets out there, we won't have
Yeah.
a problem with that. So, but we'll address that as the time moves on, but definitely needs to be added to the budget. Thank you. What's the yellow?
Okay,
Not
so
the topic of the discussion.
the yellow is the website redesign. I think so. Yes, the yellow is the website redesign. So if you look at what page is this? Page 2.
So I see where that's added. So all the other yellows, other than the one
Are where
line
we're
that
taking
says
money from.
is where you're pooling the money from.
Right, so like I pulled
Okay.
1,000 from Park Community Center expenditures. I pulled 1,000 from the Park Community Center municipal building. I pulled $4,400 from operating supplies. 2,000 from training certification for the police department. 2,000 from vehicle maintenance, 2,000 from vehicle maintenance, public works.
Wait. But given the age and your concern with the vehicles, is pulling it from vehicle maintenance really a good idea?
I mean, sure, no, I mean, yeah, that's definitely a possibility, but we're just gonna have to cross that bridge when it happens, if it happens.
Because the second vehicle maintenance you have, when you pull 2,000 from that, it takes it down to 6,000 and our expenses is already at 5,400. Or is that what's still left?
That's what's still left.
Okay, the negative means that's what's still left. Got it. Okay, so we still have some space on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the negatives and stuff on this threw me off.
I thought the website was redesigned for the first year was 21,000.
it is, but I feel like the last 7,000 is gonna land in the next fiscal year.
Okay.
It's after 6 months or something like that.
So we'll pay 7,200, 7,100, whatever it was that we approved. I think we'll get through the next 7,000 before September. And then the next 7,000 will be in the next fiscal year.
Oh, so, okay, I thought it was only gonna be 3 months for her to get this thing done.
3 months and then 3
I don't
months.
think so. That's not how
What was the timeline on completing the Venture LLC contract? Do you remember?
She says you have it done like at least that first milestone in like 2 weeks.
The whole thing, what was the
Oh,
whole
the whole-
timeline?
Have to go look at it.
It'll hurt. Okay, that's
can
fine.
always
We
come
can
back.
always readdress, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like Alderman Walker. I think it was like 3 months for this whole thing. It was impressive how quick she was gonna be. And operating supplies, what exactly is that?
I mean, those are just supplies that we take for the office, for all the building, and we just haven't been utilizing that. We've been using other
We're
departments.
saving a fortune on not printing agenda stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
And training certification for the police department.
Yeah, so that animal control cuts it down to 2,000. And then
Oh, so that's training certification for animal control. Okay, not the police. My concern is we're trying to get the chief to bring in
Right.
more officers. I want to make sure we're not taking the training insert from the police department for the police officers.
Correct.
Understood. I didn't see the subline, so thank you.
So are you pulling this 6,000 in salaries from the police?
correct, right, because we have an underspend.
Positions.
Because we're short patrolmen, we're short.
I'm not
yeah.
defunding the cops, right? We just have an
Yeah, I
underspend,
understand.
so.
I had to think about it a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're without an investigator now for a little bit too, or at least one that's getting a separate paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay, and the orange,
Park and
Uh,
city grounds projects.
yeah, so the orange is so if you look at Parks and City Grounds projects, that one went up 6,000. So I probably could have labeled this a little bit better. But that's so that way we can pay for the Tom Rapino Park sign.
Correct.
So
You went up
okay.
6,000?
it was 5,000. We upped it 6 to make it 11.
Okay.
So we can cover the 6 that we just authorized today.
okay, so is your intent to have that copy of the budget posted with this ordinance?
Mhm.
If we do that, can you specify?
Yeah,
like,
I can
provide a
relabel it.
key,
Yeah.
yellow means.
Yeah. I think I did it in the
Movement fine.
email that I sent out. So we can include that in there.
Yeah, but just to somehow put on there, and then in the right-hand column where you're typed
Make it
in
negatives
what's,
or
yeah,
positives. Yeah.
positive, negative, just to make it clear. I just trying to make it as easy as possible for our citizens to understand it.
Yep.
Add the plus or minus and indicate yellow is movement being made for,
Right, for this.
and green is movement being made for this, and the
Yep.
orange is just, I think it'll make it very clear so they see how we're juggling money to get them what they need.
But those are all my changes. Again, we may come back to it because we may have to pay the 21 in this year, but when I read it, I thought I didn't see it to where it was gonna be due this fiscal year. I saw it as probably beginning of next year.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be done in less than 6 months. I think we're gonna be fine. All right, then, I would, move to adopt ordinance number 2026-273, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2026 for municipal purposes, providing a severability clause and providing for an effective date, with the fiscal year being referred to properly and the exhibit, what did we call this? Exhibit A?
We can call it that, yeah.
Exhibit A being properly labeled, yeah, it does say Exhibit A, properly labeled with Exhibit A, as well as the color coding defined within the document.
Yeah, no problem with that. All right, so I do have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Alderman Walker to accept ordinance number 2026-273, amending the fiscal year budget for municipal purposes to include a key and explanation of the changes that are happening in the budget and adjusting the pluses and minuses, so that way it's a little bit easier for the citizens to read. Did I miss anything? I covered it for you.
Labeled, did you say labeled the? Yep, that's it.
All right, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Let's see here, discussing our possible action on a resolution authorizing the submission of a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant application to the U.S. Department of Transportation and authorizing acceptance of funds upon award and designating authorized officials. Dr. Johnson, you do have the floor.
Yes, sir. We're gonna have Mrs. Michelle Martinez cover this.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening. Can you hear us?
Hi, yes, can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you all for having me here. Thank you also, Dr. Johnson. Tonight, we're requesting authorization to apply for the Federal Safe Streets and Roads for All Planning and Demonstration Grant, also known as the SS for All, or SS for A. This federal transportation safety planning grant is designed to help communities like Sandy Oaks to identify roadway safety concerns, reduce crashes and serious injuries, and prepare for future infrastructure funding opportunities with DOT. This funding would allow the city to develop a comprehensive safety action plan that would focus on roadway and crash analysis, school zone and safe pedestrian safety, emergency response access, high-risk intersections, GSI and risk mapping, and community engagement, which is very, very important in this grant. The project will also include demonstration or quick build safety activities, such as temporary traffic calming or pilot safety improvements to evaluate future projects for construction. So this is a planning application. The reason I did not approach with an implementation or demonstration is because from what I understand, we do not have a comprehensive safety plan. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, wonderful. So with this opens the door to much more federal dollars for the city. And I know with expansion, it's something that becomes very important and very costly if we try and go out for on our own with without these dollars. So this would get us initially in the door for planning. And then once that would be awarded, we'd be able to go out to a vendor or contractor, or unless you want to do it in-house, and we could begin those processes. Now, with this grant, there is also a 20% match, but what's so beautiful about this one is that we can request a waiver, and or if the waiver is not approved, then we're able to use in-kind for match. So staffing dollars, engineering, maybe some engineering costs that can be put as in-kind, and also the planning activities that we would do, those would also become in-kind dollars. So we would track all of those dollars so that we wouldn't have to actually put a cash match. The sample, a sample budget could include planning services, technical assistant analysis, definitely public outreach, engineering support, demonstration activities, and of course, grant administration and compliance. So we are now respectfully asking the council to submit the application, and if and also to commit the required match if necessary. And then
So-
proceed with all planning and reporting requirements associated with the grant. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You said it was a 20% match?
Yes, sir.
All right, and we're submitting for $500,000, so that's what, a $200,000?
With the calculations of DOT, the total project request would be for $625,000. They do the request is 500,000, and then it'd be divided by 80%, so that gives us 125,000. So the total project amount would be 125,000.
So on our ordinance here, it says $500,000. Does that amount need to be changed then, or?
Yes, sir. And I do apologize. I did not remember about the cute little calculation that they
Well,
have.
that's fine.
So I can get that to Dr. Johnson right away.
Yeah, no, that's not an issue.
It actually says 100,000 in one spot and then 500,000 as our match in another, so it's mixed matched. in
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just see that.
I'm so sorry, my dyslexia.
No, and I get it, and I get why, right? Because it references 500,000, and then their match is 100,000, which is 20%, right? I think so.
Thank you. I appreciate
Okay.
that.
So that makes sense, but yeah, we just need to update the numbers. So,
Okay.
What
Yes, sir.
about section? Yeah, okay, I'll ask it later. Go ahead.
do you have anybody have any questions?
What are we gonna get with this?
Yeah, what? I know we go into the planning phase,
Mhm.
right? And that's
Yes,
what
sir.
this kind of pays for, but I mean, what else physically do we get? Is this just, explain that to us.
So, oh, of course, of course. So physically, and I did have a conversation with DOT on another city from last year's, just to kind of an example, last year's applications. Some of the pop-up activities, right, would be, again, maybe putting temporary barriers or temporary zoning. So those we could physically purchase to put out there to see how this is how the roadway would run, how the safety zone area would look like, right? So some of those things are physical. Most of it is going to be, unfortunately, on this one, a lot of it is going to be on the planning. So getting with the engineering support or a vendor who does this, who actually does the planning, which mostly is going to be your engineering teams. But some of the physical things would be that anything that would be for our planning activities, those would be that we would purchase.
So it's like employing the engineering firm to develop a safety, safe streets and
Correct.
roads program.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay.
So what exactly is our grant out? Because I haven't seen the completed grant application. Who's going to fill that out and what is it going to be asking for?
So when we look at, fortunately with this one, the planning is going to be asking for just that. We're going to be planning for, of course, roadway crash analysis. We're going to be looking for any school zone and pedestrian safety. Also looking at any high-risk intersections, right? So I will get, what we wanted to do is make sure that council was in agreement to move forward with the application, especially since there is the 20% match, whether it's in kind or cash, it's still a commitment for the city. And I didn't want to move forward unless we knew for sure.
Right.
So I,
Hang on, but I think the actual question is, are you going to fill out the application, or who's doing it?
yes, sir. I could fill out the application. I will be working with Dr. Johnson to get the data that I might need for that.
Okay.
And then any of my costs would go into the application. I mean, into the award once the city is awarded. If you're not awarded, then I don't take a cost.
So are we specifying which roads or which areas, or we're just saying we need the funds to do the planning to
Yes.
go look and see where these areas are? We're not going to go pick some random road and say we want to put it here. We're going to get the money to do the analysis to figure out where we need to do it.
Correct. And then once we're awarded at the next funding cycle, because this one comes out every year for the most part, right? Then we would go ahead and because we have the comprehensive plan, now we're going to say, road A, B, and C, we need to focus on an implementation grant, which would include construction in order to use the barriers similar to what we tried during our planning phase.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so, and then just to clarify the dollar amount, so it says, whereas a match is required, the city will contribute $100,000. Section 4 says, required local match through allowable sources of an amount not to exceed $500,000. And then it says, authorized to accept funds upon award and an amount not to exceed $500,000. So how much are we asking for with this grant, and how much do we need to provide as matching funds for this grant?
Yes, ma'am. So the federal amount was going to be 500,000 and the match is going to be 125,000. So the total project would be 625,000.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then-
Thank you.
I'm not sure I understand this in kind.
Okay. So like
Yeah.
if, let's just say our public works team was able to actually do a road, right? We would donate $125,000 worth of labor and materials, right? Again, right, it's just in theory, right? That's the in-kind part. Or if, yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing that we could donate is the labor of Mike and Priscilla, but they don't have a machine to steamroll the road. So there is no in-kind. In
Yeah.
my opinion, there is no in-kind that we can provide. It'd be the 125 that we'd have to.
We'd have to come up with $125,000.
Yeah.
This should all be
Correct.
for engineering fees, right?
Engineering and planning, yes, sir.
Mhm. Yes, sir. And typically your planning can go anywhere between 12 to 18 months, depending on the firm, of course. It's going to be heavily weighted on which firm the city selects, and what their volume is of work. But typically I've seen 12 to 18 months for planning. And that also gives us a great oversight of overview of how our activities are going to look like also. So we could maybe do an activity once a quarter. Again, just depending on what the volume of the engineering's firm looks like.
Okay, from a budget perspective.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, is that even like something we can?
It's something that we could consider, right? But we also got applications for other items out right now, right? So I mean, I think what was the match for the Bear County one? Do you remember that, Dr. Johnson? I mean, I think it was probably 100,000 too, if I'm,
I don't know, those numbers were all jacked up.
Yeah.
I don't know what was what with that one.
But nonetheless, right, if we take that into consideration, let's call that 100,000 plus 125 here. I mean, now we're at $250,000 almost, and which we can afford it, right? But then we become really strapped.
There are issues of priest and priest masses.
I won't agree just because I live on there, so I will let somebody else make that argument, but I hear
As
you.
far as future repaired,
Yeah,
refurbished.
that's the longest road that has never been
and
touched.
that's a big expense.
Right, but we're not here to
Yeah,
discuss which roads it should be.
Yeah.
We're here to discuss whether or not we want to come up with $125,000 match for our match to apply for this grant to go out and have those kind of discoveries.
Right,
Correct.
I don't see a need at this time.
I suggest no action.
I mean, I think we do have a need. I don't think we have the money to pay for it.
When's the deadline on this one, Michelle?
So the deadline is May 26th. Now, one thing that council may want to consider is putting in the application, and then if awarded, and the in-kind doesn't look like we could make it, or then we could definitely just say no to the award, right?
that hurt
That
our-
is,
Does that hurt our future application if we turn it down?
if
I
you
mean,
turn
that-
it down, no. What would hurt is if we would move forward, and as you foresee right now, that let's say unfortunate things happen and we're not able to come up with the match, and midstream we have to bow out. I think that would look a little bit, that would not look favorably upon us.
Because I know there's a grading scale, right? Like they grade the applications, and I just don't want to win it. Then we tell them no, and then they're like, "Oh, well, now you're blacklisted on the next one," right? So
Right.
I don't mind
No, no,
applying
you're-
for it, and then we turn it down if we happen to win the other one, right? If we happen to get approved for the other grant, because we should invest into something. We just got to see what we can get approved for.
Of course. And if council wants to wait until the next funding timeline, which is going to be again next, they don't give us very long. So I believe this was maybe mid-April or so when it opened up, if I'm not mistaken.
27.
Correct. So if you want to wait till then, that's absolutely fine. We have a little bit longer to look at items, kind of see where we are, maybe do that planning in the next budget cycle. That would also be wonderful. At least we've opened that door. But I do want to let you all know that during that conversation with DOT, that city had gone because they did have a safety plan, and it was a really good, vibrant safety plan that they had done in-house. But one of the reasons they did not receive the award was because the safety plan was not as comprehensive as what DOT was looking at. So just kind of let you know that if it's not right now, that's okay. I understand completely. But just to know that these dollars maybe in the next time would be best to get something that is DOT certified. Excuse me, to say that, right?
Well, and I guess kind of follow up because you keep mentioning DOT. Well, I mean, will DOT redo our roads, right? Even though they're private roads, or is it looking at only DOT roads that lead into the city?
It's any road that has any safety issues, right? Pedestrian, any of that. So any safety issues, intersections that you think it can be within the city, right? Because I know there were several that we were looking at during implementation with that certain city that were smack down the middle of where they were looking at.
Okay.
So yes, it can be like that. So anything that has any safety issues is what we're looking at.
Okay. I mean, I don't see it hurting to apply. And then if, we happen to win another, we get approved for another grant and we happen to get this one as well, I think we turn it down.
But you get paid from the grant money, correct, ma'am? So
Correct.
what if we apply, get it, turn it down, then how are you compensated for the time you invested in helping us submit the application?
Because I suggested it, I would not take a cost. Because I don't want y'all to be strapped for money, so it's some of my time. I know Dr. Johnson will be assisting with any information that I know, but I respect the fact that if it comes to that point that the city's not able to move forward with it, I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what do we all want to do? Take a motion, take no action?
No action.
We wait until the next cycle and reconsider then.
She's indicating that us having a safety plan in place when we apply will increase our opportunities, especially if it's a DOT approved.
Yeah.
Safety plan. So that might be something we look at generating between now and next year. I know, because we just don't have enough to do.
Yeah.
It would behoove us.
Yeah.
If it's going to increase our chances and we're not sure we have the money, I think it might be worth. I do appreciate you bringing it to us, but if our chances are going to be better with the DOT&E approved safety plan, I think we need to focus on that.
Yes, sir. And these dollars are just for planning. So so the city wouldn't have to put out anything but the match, whether it be in kind or not. So just like when you're looking at it, maybe for the next when y'all are ready to move forward with it, then I think maybe going back to this application and this funding stream might be something you would look at, because y'all wouldn't have to put out those high engineering costs to get somebody to come in and do the plan for y'all.
Yeah. So just for clarification, right? We'd apply for this grant to do the plan,
Correct.
to do the planning, whatever it's called. And then once it's all done and said and done, 12 to 18 months, then we apply for another grant to actually hit the roads, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Oh, so the grant would build our safety plan?
Yes.
So we wouldn't need one for the grant. Oh, I was misunderstanding that. I thought we needed.
No, ma'am. It's for the plan.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
The plan would give us the safety plan.
Correct.
Misunderstood.
No, not a problem.
We still have to come up with 20%.
We still, yes, and that is true. We still have to come up with the money.
I don't see them in our budget right now.
We don't even know what we want. Why would we want to get involved with spending money? We don't even know what we want.
No, we
to
would,
spend it on.
this would be building a plan for us.
Right, so this is, again, right, we would, let's call it as it is, right? We would tell Success Engineering, right, to come down and assess the roads and let's create a DOT approved safety plan for our roads, right? But after we win this grant, right, that would pay for all his fees and his time and so on. So then 12 to 18 months from now, we have an approved DOT plan, right? And then when the next set of funding comes around, whenever that time is, then we present it to DOT and say, these are the roads that need repairs, right? So yes, you're right. We don't know what we need now because we don't have Success Engineering coming out and saying.
We need a safety plan.
Right, we need a safety plan first. So we need to be able to pay for it first.
And then we get an answer. So we've already committed to coming up with $100,000 somewhere for the other grant we applied to if we should get that one.
Right.
So if we apply for this one, we can just say no to one of them and take the other if we get them both.
Correct.
And may I say, also just going back to the in-kind, it's something that's been very successful in asking, vendors, even myself, like I would be able to give back some in-kind dollars as well, or in-kind time, right? But also sometimes asking your engineering firms if they can do in-kind, whether it's like, I have to say it, but any billables, like if they have to make some phone calls or they have to, anything like that, that they maybe not bill, it just is something they do, that can also come back as in kind. Or if they send out staff to your activities, but they don't bill for that, that could be looked as in kind. And I know those are higher dollars than just our staff time.
I think overall, I think it's a good idea, right? I think we do need a plan for something like this to assess our roads, right? I understand the concern of the money, right? Most definitely, I understand that concern because I don't want to put us strapped. And we'll have to choose one or the other at the end of the day, right? But either way, I like it, but it's up to y'all.
She said if we apply for it and get approved and turn it down, then it
does not hurt us.
As long as we don't accept it and then tell them, oh, sorry, we can't match it.
Right.
If we accept it and then we get to the point where it's starting to,
We can't pay it.
yeah, we can't pay it, then that's a problem. But if we win, if we get awarded and we're like, we won the other one,
Okay.
then it's not a problem. I'd say let's give it the old college try.
All right, I would move that we accept resolution number 2026-254, resolution of the city of San Diego, Texas, authorizing the submission of a grant application and acceptance of fund upon award in the amount not to exceed $500,000 with editing. The next to the last whereas, so it says with the city contributing $125,000. And then in section 2, where it says the city agrees to provide the required local match through allowable sources of an amount not to exceed, change that amount to be $125,000. And then I believe section 5, that dollar amount is accurate.
I think you'll need to also include the waiver or requesting the waiver and I don't know if Michelle can clarify whether, so with if we're requesting a waiver, is the total amount requested 625,000? Amount not to exceed 625,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Or, okay, so.
But there's nothing in here that says the total amount of the project. There's an amount of an award, there's an amount of the city contribution. I don't see anything in this resolution that talks to that, and I'm not sure.
Total gross amount.
It's not the 500 plus the 125,000.
There's nothing in here
Right,
that
there's nothing
refers
in
to the
here.
total amount. There's only a reference to
500 and
the contributions, that's referenced twice, and then the amount that we're going to accept is listed in here.
Right.
And then I'm not sure what you're talking about with the waiver that should be part of this motion.
So requesting a waiver of the match of the $125,000 match. So then making the total.
Is there a process? Wait a minute, there's a process to,
$625,000?
Yeah, she mentioned earlier that there's a waiver application, right?
You could get
Yes, ma'am.
denied.
Yes, sir.
should that be included in the resolution or just in the motion?
I can put in the resolution if you'd like.
Okay, and then so also further amend the resolution to indicate that the application will include an application for a waiver of our matching funds.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem to adopt resolution number 2026-254 with the amendments to the city contributing $125,000. And then to include a waiver of the match in the resolution. And I think that was pretty much it, right, for your motion?
The whereas the section 2 update and then add the waiver.
Yeah.
Those are the three key updates to the ordinance. Yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah, I've referenced basically all three of those. All right, and then, so I do have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
All right, a second by Alderman Tremblay. At this point, it's up for discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed?
All right, that motion carries 4-1. Thank you, Michelle. Please work with Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. I surely will. Thank you. You have a great evening.
You too. Let us know
Thank
what you
you.
need. Take care.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Let's move along. Discuss for possible action for record services with Bear Towing after contract expiration. Dr. Johnson, I know you talked to me about maybe pulling the item. What's going on with this one?
So with that, we have Texas Towing, their contract does end in August. But yes, sir, we don't have enough information.
Yeah, and I confuse Bear Towing with Texas Towing. So I don't know. Their contract, regardless, their contract ends at the end of August. Do we want to consider an RFP again, or do we want to go?
That's
with-
not what the item is.
I know. So
So action on the record service on Bear Towing. I think there's no action on that, but a recommendation that you bring back the discussion on the towing contract, potential RFP as an agenda item at the next meeting.
let's do that then. So no action on this item here.
So this is Bear Towing, not Texas Towing.
Yeah,
The current contract is with Texas Towing.
Yes, sir.
Correct. That's why there's no action.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to agenda item M, discussing a possible action on trash services with Waste Connections after contract expiration. So Waste Connections their contract does end at the end of December. And so I think it's early enough to where we can get we can move in a year-to-year contract extension with them, or we can move to start an RFP process. So I just kind of want to put it out there. We still got plenty of time, but kind of get y'all's takes on it and see what you want to do.
So one, I don't think they're in compliance with this contract completely right now at this time. Two, is this posted somewhere for citizens to see the contract?
The contract? I don't think so.
And then the third point is, I think we need to discuss an RFP, at least to look at our options outside of this, due to the fact that when you were posting about Waste Connections prior to National Night Out last year, and we were discussing moving to a single day for service, there were citizens complaining about the quality of the service that this contractor provides. So I think we need an opportunity to get some RFPs, or to send out an RFP to get some other proposals and just give the citizens an opportunity to talk about the different services and what their concerns are and what's most important to them.
Where are they not compliant? Interested to hear about that.
Not on the agenda, but happy to talk to you after the meeting, sir.
Isn't that what we did last time? Or wasting?
Put it for an RFP. I wasn't around, but yeah.
Yeah.
And we, had what Carmen,
Because we can do an RFP and then make the decision that we just want to go
Back
year to
the-
year with these guys. We have that option, but at least we should see what options are out there that we can make available to our citizens, since they've expressed dissatisfaction with the current service.
They complain about everything.
They do, but this is their opportunity to come tell us and make a difference. And if we don't give them the opportunity to provide input, then it's our fault. But if we give them the opportunity and they don't, then it's theirs.
because they complained about the last time we went through this with a different company.
Absolutely.
See,
I was a big proponent for Waste Connections when that came up.
But I think we
They
could,
handled glass on recycling, Tiger didn't.
do we want to do a renewal or do we want to do an RFP?
Want to do an RFP.
I move that we task the city attorney and city administrator work together to generate an RFP for trash and recycle service within the city of Sandy Oaks.
All right, I got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, that's rock, paper, scissors on that one. I'm gonna take Alderman Kreckmer as giving me the second to authorize an RFP with Dr. Johnson and our city attorney for Waste Connections trash services after, yeah, that's it. At this point, it's up for discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Let's move along. Discussing our possible action on the potential future annexation of the Oaks at Waterwood located at Waterwood Drive and Last Chance Drive, including a status update on developer negotiations and strategy for moving forward. I reached out to these guys just to see what's going on. They are aware that we still want to do it. The conversation with Tensi, who was my point of contact, seems like she was still interested in it. Dr. Johnson, do you have any other further updates since then? I know
before you spoke with them, I spoke about a month ago where they was willing to give us a wish list, some of the things we can negotiate on. Licensing hearing contract.
Yeah.
And her brother's out of town right now, so I'm expecting to hear back from them.
What do you mean current contract?
Well, the proposed draft contract
There's a draft contract for what?
for the annexation. I'll say contract, but agreement for it. You can want
Yeah.
to bring them in.
Okay.
Okay, but that's really what I wanted to do, is just kind of get an update. And
Have they been offered an opportunity to come and address the city council?
yeah, they have, and they just haven't had a chance to come down. I don't think they're moving a whole lot back there either, so.
Oh, no, I almost got nailed by a dump truck speeding out from back there and the car speeding right through the intersection of Copper Canyon on down Waterwood.
Yeah.
They just barrel down there.
Definitely a liability.
Yeah.
But there's someone living back there now. There's a homeowner.
There's a couple back there and there's a lot of cars moving from back there. and
There's a
dump
lot of trash, they're dumping trash already.
Yeah.
Sidewalk, couches,
Yeah.
materials.
But is that considered extraterritorial area? I mean, no.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still San Antonio's or.
It's not. They've been released from San Antonio.
So it's
So
ours.
it's ours. It's in our ETJ now.
It's not in your,
Is no?
it's not. It's not automatically put into another city's ETJ because it was released from one ETJ. So the process would be to first have them petition to be included in the ETJ. And then once that's done, then you add.
Hmm.
So, but there also needs to be a service agreement.
But what is our strategy for moving forward now? If they're just kind of moving slow and
So
our
you were right.
negotiations have stalled and they don't.
I mean, at this point, right, we're just kind of,
Do we want to go back to putting their street signs up for them and all that to coax
No.
them? Okay.
Yeah, there's no authority.
We have no authority to spend any money on that town when
I
they're
know.
not part of that section of town.
Did
until
we
they're
tell them
part
to
of
take
it.
their sign down at the Waterwood entrance?
yeah, I mean, that might spark conversations, that's for sure.
So,
Put up.
So we've
some big
invited
speed
them.
Bumps in the road tomorrow.
yeah, we need a stop sign there, I'm telling you. They're just.
Well, I mean,
they're-
I think we have authority to put a stop sign.
At
right-
Waterwood,
Right at our
I
street,
mean,
yeah,
Copper Canyon is within our town.
yeah.
So, but,
We can bring that up on another agenda.
but we have no authority back there. All we can do is wait for them to take action, and that's pretty much our only strategy at this point, correct? So, and if they want to negotiate some sort of agreement, they need to come here because we are the ones that need to approve the agreement, not you, not you. It's gotta be, come talk to us and tell us why we should give you that.
Was there ever a discussion about them getting some portion of the property tax revenue
No.
that the city gets?
What street they're gonna use to come in and out of?
We're gonna drive straight down ours. So again, so our only strategy at this point is wait for them to decide to come talk to the council?
Yeah, and then if nothing happens, then we go to a referendum, right? I think that's the only other option, once it's sold, once everything's full.
And we would have to
I
get a
don't
certain
know.
percentage of the residents of that area. So that would be our strategy, see if the current owners want to come talk to us, and if not, then we have to wait until we have most of the property sold and then go attempt to
Yeah.
get them to vote to come be part of the city of San Diego. Do we have any other
Might be a hard,
options?
hard get there if they're getting everything for free anyway.
Total fees.
It may be,
Just stand there, start ticketing.
I don't know.
So no action.
You can see how many lots are, it's all out on VCAD.
All right, guys.
So, so our only strategy is to wait until they decide to come to us or until the properties are sold and we can go talk to the majority of the citizens. So no real strategy except.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, let's moving along to agenda item O, discuss and take possible action on amending ordinance 2024-246, regulation of driveways. So I think the only thing that I wanted to talk about here, me personally, is in working with Priscilla, the Public Works wanted to be removed from this driveway ordinance.
So I would move that we task the city attorney to update ordinance 2024-246 to replace Public Works Director with code enforcement.
I second the motion.
All right, so I have a motion by our Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderwoman Walker.
Additional conversation too.
Right, to remove the Public Works Director and then replace with the Code Enforcement Officer. At this point, we do have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
There was a comment made at a previous meeting, which I don't have insight into, but a comment that the ordinance says we're supposed to have metal things under the driveway, whatever those things are called.
Oh,
And now the requirement is for it to be plastic,
I was-
PVC.
yeah.
PVC. So do we want to update that? And what is the requirement so that we can incorporate that into this edit as well?
I was looking for that to try to reference it. I haven't been able to find it again.
A new state ordinance.
Well, that's what I was also looking into and couldn't find, and I thought Alderman Tremblay had made that reference and also talked to code enforcement or code enforcement officer at Aguilar, and he wasn't sure where in the ordinance section y'all were talking about either, so.
Oh, it does require metal.
Section
Yeah.
7B or C,
Yeah, it clearly states a requirement.
does a culvert pipe may be corrugated metal, concrete, or approved equal. What we're talking about.
PVC isn't even an option. And I guess
Yeah.
somebody stated that's now a requirement.
I find that hard to
So it
believe.
shows up in both B
G,
and C. Does it show up in G?
G is one.
So I would say just throw out that we need to replace whatever it says with whatever the new requirement is.
But we don't know for sure
And
what
G
it is.
says metal are especially prohibited already in there. So it's been
It says metals prohibited.
in G,
Where does it say that? That's not what I'm seeing. In what,
in 4G.
4G? Okay, because what I'm reading says,
Flexible, but flexible, I think you're an F. Showing that.
4G.
yeah, what I'm reading is a culvert pipe may be corrugated metal.
It
You're
does say,
saying it
In
can't?
G it says metal.
it does say metal culverts are expressly prohibited.
Yeah, and
Okay.
item 4G, so that our own ordinance contradicts itself.
Contradict, yeah,
Where is, oh,
because I'm reading section 7B and then C, and that's where it says to use the
Which number, B and C?
7,
seven,
she said 7.
section 7.
Priscilla's too busy.
Culvert pipe may be corrugated metal, concrete, or approved equal.
Yeah, the very last sentence.
Huh.
Yeah, so then strike that.
Last sentence.
Yeah, I would say so.
Perfect.
Well, we need a motion.
Right. But like CJ wants to make a motion to strike.
Or I can
What?
amend my motion.
Yeah, amend the motion.
I amend the motion to strike the last sentence of section 7B. And where was the other one?
Um,
4G is fine. That's not a problem. It says ag metal is prohibited, but I,
C is talking about oh, but it doesn't discuss metal.
it doesn't.
Okay,
So
never
again,
mind.
my motion is, I would like to amend my motion to also strike the final sentence in section 7B. A culvert pipe may be corrugated metal, concrete, or approved equal.
So the motion by Mayor Pro Tem and second by Alderwoman Walker has been amended to now strike, huh?
It needs to also include 8B.
8B.
Doesn't really, well, yeah.
Well, just strike
Yep.
all of them. Strike
Strike,
all of them.
okay, again, I would move
Yeah.
to amend my motion so that it states to have the city attorney replace Public Works Director with City of Sandy Oaks Code Enforcement, and to remove all sentences or references in the ordinance that say the culvert pipe can be metal, such as in section 7B and 8B.
All right. So the motion amended by the Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by
I
Alderman
didn't say second yet.
I second.
No.
and seconded by Alderwoman Walker, is to, in the entire document, replace the Public Works Director with City of Sandy Oaks Code Enforcement Officer, and to strike any reference to a corrugated metal culvert pipe throughout the document, such as in section 7B, where it states a culvert pipe may be corrugated metal.
So just a point. I left it as only City of Sandy Oaks Code Enforcement
Mhm.
because right now he's an official and he may be an officer. And so
All right, so I redact official. And that concludes the motion. All right. At this point, are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right. You've officially been relieved of duty. Thank you. All right. Moving on, is there any other discussion points on this? All right, then let's move along. Discussion or possible action on making improvements to the.
Is that considered, that's considered the first reading, right? All right, I move that this come back for a second reading at the next meeting. We'll make it,
Why
because we have to have
don't you just make a motion to waive it?
nope, just bring it back to the next meeting and then we'll read it and then waive the second reading at that point in time. So no motion. I withdraw.
Yeah, it still has to come back, right? So. Okay, so then let's move along. Discussion or possible action on making improvements to the community baseball field. Yeah, I just want to consider making an investment into the baseball field, right? I think Priscilla's trying with what she has, but I'd like to really go out there and start getting some quotes for some material to throw out there, maybe compact it down. I think we have a striping machine, maybe figure out if that's still working. If not, maybe purchase a new one. Install some bases, right? I mean, obviously this takes time and money, but I mean,
the bases.
We gotta lock down the base. Yeah, because you found them at,
Tom's son told me he had them and gave them to Priscilla, right? I didn't give them to you?
but
What you get for them?
you said you knew something about getting some red dirt. or
Yeah,
something?
the red infill sand.
yeah,
Go on 281 or 16 to those sand places and they have it.
yeah.
And,
the baseball clay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just wasting away if we don't do anything with it. So especially summer's here, all the kids are gonna be in the park.
I see a lot of kids on the basketball court.
I think we need lights and everything else when we do that.
Why do we need lights? The park's supposed to be closed at dusk.
Oh, that's true.
But either way, the sun sets at 9:00, right? The summer, so they got an opportunity to play.
We won't have any night games that we got.
But I mean, obviously, we don't need a motion for that, but I just would like to gather some support for at least spending some effort between me, Priscilla.
Find out where that fits in the park budget. And let's talk about it when you have some numbers.
Yeah. Just keep digging. Eventually we'll get it. We'll get the sand. All right, cool. There's no action to really take on there, but we'll work on it some more. Cool. All right, let's see here. Discuss under possible action to authorize the city administrator to transmit the city of Sandy Oaks master plan map to Bear County Appraisal District Mapping Division to ensure record synchronization. Dr. Johnson, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I'm requesting the council to approve me to give BCAD in order for, our master plan map that's approved back in 2020 to reflect. It's not gonna change zoning or anything like that. It's just so when we go through and look in BCAD, the person now that wanna buy property or something like that, there's no confusion when looking at BCAD.
So it wasn't submitted when we approved the master plan
No, no,
6 years ago?
no, we go to BCAD, Jordan and I every day, and there's just a lot of confusion there.
Well, just because BCAD's messed up doesn't mean we didn't send it to them once. So, and are we talking about just sending them page 15 through 18, or are you talking about sending them the whole master plan?
No, just page 15.
Just page, you need to send the next page as well, which is, it clarifies what the different color codes and things on there. So page 15 through 18 will include the map, the color codes, and the description, some definitions of what we mean when we say all of these residential properties are single family homes, period. And I mean, just those kind of, what do we mean by this is in those couple of pages, because the map by itself has colors on it.
BCAD doesn't need any of that. All they need is for us to tell them, this is residential, this is commercial.
And that's what the map will do.
Well,
We give them that in the table that follows.
it's not automatic. People
Right.
that live within the commercial zone aren't commercial
And-
until they go commercial.
Right, and that's my concern, right? Because the way this reads about a synchronization, you're gonna turn my property into a commercial property, and now my homestead exemption is no longer valid, you know, or whatever it may be.
Exactly.
So that's, I know that's not what
confusion.
it's gonna do,
They don't need the confusion.
right?
Yeah, so absolutely not. So there'd be someone who wants to, they have the opportunity to, if they live on Priest Road, to turn their property to commercial property if need be, but BCAD would have it in the system already.
That it can,
Yes, yes.
Is that-
You wanted to, like commercial on your property, you can do something.
but can we do that today, right? Let's just say this one right here wants to do it, we agree to it. Can we just call BCAD and say, hey, this guy needs to go zone commercial, we've approved it? Rather than sending them this whole document? I don't know.
There's a process, for, like, when I wanted to
To combine,
mine, there's a process, and again, BCAD's going to need something signed from the city to make that change. But basically, that's it. They don't really care. They'll change it to whatever we tell them within our city. They'll be fine with it. So you think that this is just going to confuse things?
I
Is
think
that
so.
what you
I do.
Well, I believe so. I may be wrong, right? But
And what is the benefit of sending it?
So it is synchronized. So, for example, someone wants to buy a house here in Sandy Oaks, they'll be able to see exactly on BCAD, the zoning. It would just synchronize.
I had a
But
banker
BCAD's
call
not the
me.
authoritative source, is
I
that
had a
correct,
member-
Cassandra? Isn't it our master plan?
It would be the.
I
master
had a
plan. I
loan
never looked at
officer
BCAD
call
for
me and
anything.
ask me if the property next to the
Like, if it's a
truckers was
tax.
commercial or not. Told him, no, it's residential.
So how would someone buying a home? I know how I knew, but how would an average person buying a home know that when they look at BCAD and the description of the property is not the authoritative source and that it's going to be our master plan? How do they know that?
I think due diligence is
Yeah, I
just
think it will.
knowing to look at a city's plan or whether they have zoning and zoning records.
I mean, that's what I did.
That's, yeah.
I dug in, looked at the ordinances, looked at the master plan. I read all of it, but I don't know that the average
There
citizen,
is
but a
people-
realtor should be doing that too for
Yep.
the person that they're
Well,
selling
they're
the
gonna-
home to.
Realtors are gonna kind of tell you some stuff to make the sale.
yeah, to make the sale.
Yeah, I can just give you an example right now. We have a business up here on Priest Road, Yellow Egg Restaurant. However,
You haven't closed
they
it
are,
yet?
so the issue with that, they are registered commercial. However, it's not showing up on BCAT, so now we have to follow up with.
But our master plan doesn't have them as commercial,
It's just like commercial.
They're in the commercial on their master.
but a
plan.
restaurant isn't like commercial.
Yes, it is.
It is,
Light industrial.
that's like.
Anyways, point of order, guys, let's go back to do we want to let the administrator submit the plan?
No,
All right, can I get a motion?
I suggest we do not submit the zoning map on the, what do you call it?
Is the master plan?
Master plan to Bearcat, because it's
Is
unnecessary.
that your motion?
Yes,
All right, I got a motion from Alderman Crickmer. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Alderwoman Walker, excuse me. The motion is to not submit the master plan to Bear County Appraisal District for synchronization. At this point, is there any discussion?
I just don't know what harm would it do.
Yeah, I'm still not clear on the harm or the benefit. I'm not sure either way on this.
Yeah,
I don't,
my fear is that we send them this, that these are all commercial, light commercial, and then they flip, right? They flip them from
I read that, but
residential
it still doesn't, yeah.
to commercial. And that
And
means
you're-
everybody on Priest no longer
Yeah.
has a homestead
Yep.
exemption.
But they're all zoned like commercial now and they're residential.
Yeah, but we're sending
not
him,
on-
we're sending him records, we're sending them records that say these are light commercial.
Yeah.
Right? They're not right now. They don't know that they're residential or light commercial. How I see it is, if I wanted to make my house a light commercial, I would come to the city, I would register.
Not.
We would go through a rezoning application, y'all would
Have
approve
that
it or
was a
deny it.
dream,
And
that's
then-
a
and then we
projected
would-
what we want, that's not what.
Light commercial is not.
So anyways,
according to our master plan.
So anyways, what would happen was,
Look at
the
page 16.
council would review it and either approve it or deny it, and if you approved it, then the city
commercial.
sends to the county that particular property is now commercial.
Been modified.
My fear is that when we give them that document, hey guys, when we give them that document, they take all those properties and they flip them, and they make them all commercial. And that just causes a headache for everybody. Right, exactly. Now they're paying taxes on a commercial property.
If BCAT's not even authoritative and it's only used for tax
Hey,
purposes.
But if we're sending them the
They're
document,
the taxing entity. They're the
Right,
final
no,
order.
excuse me. For determining what your property can be used as, our city attorney says that it doesn't matter what BCAT says.
Correct.
It's what's in our master plan.
correct.
So what's the benefit of giving them this, if this is what's authoritative anyway? Because then we're still just trusting Bearcat to update it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, and it doesn't matter whether they do or don't, because this plan is our authoritative source. And this is what we should be going to make any kind of decision.
Right.
And that's all that matters. So based on the way you just explained that, that's
for
how I
us,
understand
that's
it.
not for Bearcat.
Right.
Bearcat is taxes.
Right.
It's
That-
not
That
property
document's
use.
for us to allow the,
Citizenry to do,
right, to turn it into a commercial. I don't think our master plan needs to go to them. If somebody wants to be on light commercial, they can apply for it with us. Then we can give that to BCAD to flip it on.
there was a reference to restaurants in there as far as being a light commercial. at
Not a
one
light
point.
commercial. It specifically says office use only for light commercial, restaurants uses areas C2, those that are colored in red on the master plan.
So it's a restaurant.
But I do,
My
but-
challenge
So
with
it's a commercial
it
restaurant.
is.
So it's a commercial property.
That is the only place where you can have a restaurant.
We get point to order.
All of
Then
the-
you can't have a restaurant
so,
on,
so we do,
Road.
we do have a motion on the floor. Go ahead, Alderman Walker.
So what you were saying is if we were to submit this and they flip it, then it's automatically
That's my fear, right? It may not happen.
but those people that do have homes on that property, not business, but residents.
Right.
Could lose their exemptions.
Right, it would go back, right? They'd have to go appeal it.
You'd
and-
have to go appeal and
Right.
everything, but I don't know, I see that as a negative.
I see it too. So I do have a motion by Alderman Crickmer and Alderwoman Walker. Let me go ahead and take a vote if we're out of discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Wait, what's?
Oh,
Please read the motion again.
yeah, the motion was to not submit the Sandy Oaks Master Plan to Bear County Appraisal District.
Okay.
All right, and that was by Alderman Crickmer and Alderwoman Walker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, that motion carries. Let's move along. Next item, agenda R, discussing or possible action on authorizing the procurement of 18 cubic yards of decomposed granite not to exceed 1,570 for purpose of repairing and restoring designated areas along the Tomarpino Park. I don't have a problem with this one, so let's make a motion. unless y'all have questions.
Do we have that within the budget, for the park? Okay, I move that we approve the procurement of 18 cubic yards of decomposed granite not to exceed $1,570 for the purpose of repairing and restoring designated areas along the Tom Marpino Park Trail.
Second.
All right, I got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and Alderman Crickmer to approve the purchase of 18 cubic yards of decomposed granite not to exceed $1,570 for the purpose of repairing and restoring designated areas along Tom Marpino Park Trail. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that motion carries. No, we didn't make a motion on it.
okay.
Me and Priscilla are just gonna work on it offhand. They agreed with that. All right, and then S, discuss under possible action authorizing the execution of a lease agreement for a roller not to exceed 1824.55 for the purpose of repairing and restoring designated areas along the Tom Marpino Trail.
The roller costs more than the granite. What is
No.
this, like a manual thing you're gonna push, something
No.
you put behind the truck,
It's a
something you drive?
So Tom Rapino purchased a roller, that you add water to it and it attaches to our zero turn.
All right, but talk to us about the lease.
That's not heavy enough.
Talk to us
So
about
what
the
is
lease.
this
This
lease?
36 foot, 36-inch roller has a big roller on the front and a big roller on the back. So basically what we want to do is we want to take the crushed granite and we want to put it in areas that it's needed. But when we get done, we need to make sure that that crushed granite is rolled. It's not used by a tractor. I don't have any other equipment to do
How long
it
is the
with.
lease?
So you get, with a lot of these, they're back and forth, but you get a better deal for a week. If you rent it for a week.
It's $1,800 for a week.
It is not $1,800. This
No, it's-
lease says $600. The $1,800 is for 4 weeks. Yeah, so this is
So-
only $600.
There's even a
Delivery
possibility,
fee.
and I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a possibility that I could actually get the roller. And once we get the crushed granite down, that we could have the roller delivered to me. That's 150. And then I believe it's 150 for them to take it back. But
Yes.
then I could just rent it for the day for 200.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also run it on the baseball field without even putting dirt, just to smooth it out. So I mean,
So
I'm-
you could, but can you say I want it for a week and then return it early if you finish it
Yes.
and still
And then
get
they
the
will
money
just
back
charge me for the day.
and charge you for the amount of time? So I'm not sure where this 18,000 comes from, because when I'm looking at this quote, it says $600 for a week and then 150 to pick up and 150 to drop off.
Yeah, there's 3 different folks there, so I'm going to pay on explanation.
All right, go. I move that we approve Public Works Director to go obtain a roller for a period of 1 week or less to use in the Tom Rapino Park at a cost not to exceed $900.
Second.
all right, I got a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Alderman Crickmer to authorize the Public Works Director to lease a roller for time period of 1 week or less with an NTE of $900.
We extend that to 990, as that's what the quote is.
How do you see
There's a
900?
damage waiver and a environmental impact. No,
All right, I then
so it covers-
amend my quote to be NTE to be $990. Thank you.
And we will amend the motion to update the NTE to $990 for a time period of 1 week or less by the Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by Alderman Crickmer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. I think we got one more, guys.
I move to adjourn.
We can do that.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Can we swear in the chief
Oh,
during
you
the
wanna
meeting?
do that right now?
Can we?
Yeah.
I think we should do it like officially on the record as part of the meeting, if you don't mind, sir.
Nope.
That's what I did.
All right,
Okay.
being on the record, official.
The cameras out.
Flags.
Get the cameras out.
Get your reading glasses.
That page is more.
So this is the statement of officers. So you want to raise your right hand and read that? Get out of the way.
He doesn't need to read it, he just needs to sign it, the statement of officer.
Oh, okay. Then I will read you this one. Or no, you need to read this one. You can read this one out.
I, Enrique R. Alvarez, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of interim chief, please.
Chief.
Oh, Chief of Police for the Police Department of Sandy Oaks of the state of Texas. Will do to my best ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States, this state, so help me God. Amen.
Amen.
Wait, I hate that. You're supposed to administer the oath, so I should
I mean-
make sure it's done properly.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I don't-
Okay, let me administer.
People have been challenged on things like that.
All right, so let's raise your right hand. I, Enrique R. Alvarez,
I, Enrique R. Alvarez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Chief of Police
of Chief of Police
for the Police Department
for the Police Department
of the City of Sandy Oaks
of the City of Sandy Oaks
of the State of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will do my best
to the best
of my ability
of my ability
to preserve,
to preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody, for your vote of confidence. I promise to try not to let anybody down. Do my best. I wish you wouldn't have taken that.
Now you gotta go find your replacement as investigator, that you have
Yeah,
more
It's on another
time.
agenda item.
He can start looking now.
Yeah.
All right, I move to adjourn.
All right, time is now 9:43. We are adjourned. Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
I got a text message from Ray Lynn. I got an attitude.
Oh, she saw the thing?
I have.
You said-
No. I'm pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
You never know it.
Is there a motion?
Can we fix them? Or I'll give them to Dr. Johnson. There's a couple.
Experience with them too.
You change to the chief, there's one there.
Congrats to your chief.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay,
Tomorrow at 9.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We would have to. Do you, I think we can fix it tomorrow by now?
Oh, that-
No, the contract, I can do.
Oh, the contract,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
already sent it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay, got you. Yep, I get that printed out and then, oh, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for that, that probation period, but I'm open if you guys want to talk. Give some feedback. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, council person that put it in, that got kicked out, basically, because the oath wasn't in.
Oh, really? Did you hear about that one mayor that they locked him out of the office?
Oh, yeah, there was one in jail, that one.
Yeah.
They locked one in, it's not JR, right?
It's not JR.
Yeah.
It's who was it? But I've seen him a few times.
Well, in that time, but yeah, I think someone did not administer correctly and 30 days expired, which we're supposed to.
Well, I'm having that other guy that's the chief and used to recommend.
Somebody didn't want that guy there.
They waited, that's what.
Yeah.
Thank y'all, y'all have a good night. Good night. Be safe.
Reach out to him.